Hi, Neil from EA Media. Well, I read that Siemens and Darktrace were looking at doing a joint venture to provide managed security services to the ICS and the SCADA environment, basically for the utilities industry as well as the oil and gas industry. And my first thought was, I don't see it happening. I understand everybody wants to move towards cloud and everything, but at the end of the day, we are talking about utility space and oil and gas. Now, I'll talk specific to utility since that's my own experience. Why is Siemens wanting to do this? It's important to remember that Siemens devices were the ones that were exploited for Stuxnet. So as a result, they have a bit of a reputation to repair. Darktrace, that's obvious. They're looking to enhance their revenue collection. So now a joint venture makes sense to improve security to try and drive more revenue streams. A few years ago, CA asked me to come down to Vegas and speak at their CA World conference. They had a number of speakers lined up to talk to the utility space. And they wanted me because at the time I was doing work for BC Hydro, SAS Power, Hydro One, Avista, a number of different utilities. So I really understood providing security to the utility space. And while I was sitting there listening to these other speakers before I came on, I had to shake my head because each one of these speakers was talking about how cloud security was the way to go, how because CA was an expert or is an expert in security technologies that utilities should be looking at going towards the cloud with CA. Then it came to my turn to talk, and I got up there. And the first thing I did was I pointed to one of the chief engineers I knew from one of the utilities, and I asked him, will you ever let one of your SCADA system control applications go to the cloud? And he said, hell no. And there's a reason for that. Anybody that's been around me for a while knows that I describe utilities as a schizophrenic organization. And what I mean is that they actually have two personalities that you have to be aware of. The first is the corporate environment. Now, the corporate environment in a utility is just like the corporate environment in any business. You're there to monitor, to manage, to market, to receive goods, to ship out anything that needs to be shipped out, that sort of thing. So it's a normal business mentality, a normal business environment. If you were to look at a corporate environment, the core component, the crown jewel would be, say, your ERP system. So what's the worst case that can happen in a corporate environment? Your SAP, your ERP disappears. And if that was to happen, you lose your ability to control your revenue streams, you lose the ability to control and manage your expense streams. And that goes to the core of the corporate environment, is profit and loss. But utilities have the core business they have to think about, which is separate from the corporate environment. The core business is about the generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity to the end consumer. So think about what's the worst thing that can happen in the operations environment. The electricity isn't delivered. That's your first thought. You need to think a step further. What happens if there is no electricity being provided? My worst nightmare when I was working with utilities is if electricity is disrupted and not delivered to a hospital in the middle of a surgery. Whoever's on that table will die. So at the end of the day, If you're talking about a worst case for corporate, can't control revenue streams, you can't control expenses, or the operations environment, can't deliver electricity, somebody dies. Which is a worst case scenario? And that's the thing that IT people don't seem to get. They have trouble, by and large, most IT people, understanding what the core business is and what they have to do to support that core business. They treat everybody the same, but they're not the same. You have to focus on the core business and what those risks are. Think of it this way. IT people, when they're putting together a solution, they will design, they'll build, they'll implement. If there's something wrong, they'll back out, they'll make changes, and then they'll re-implement. That's the way an IT person does a project. It's fine. Except when you're talking about risks of where somebody dies. On the operations side of the house, that is not designed and built by IT people. Those systems are designed and built by engineers. And those engineers will take those systems, they will design it, they will plan it, they will think of every single possible thing that could go wrong, test for that. And then when they know exactly what's going to happen in every single case, only then will they implement. For the very simple reason, there is no back out. Because if you back out, you lose the electricity. So there's the IT approach, then the engineering approach. And that is the reason why I don't think a utility will ever go to cloud services, to a managed security service for the core business. The core business is about delivering electricity, and the impacts are huge if you don't. Corporate side, corporate people think it's big, but it's not life and death. So until cloud services can meet the level of detail that engineers provide, I don't see utilities, I don't see SCADA Security moving out into the cloud or going to a managed security service. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you like this video, take a look at some of the others we have on our YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe. That way you can help grow the EA Media community. I'm Neil Rarup with EA Media, and I hope that helps.